Hey guys, and welcome to another guide for Season 6 League of Legends Champion, and in today's guide we'll be going over Janna. Now Janna is a very utility based champion. She is my second most favourite champion to play, actually second most played. So I kinda know what I'm talking about, but you're always learning the league, so this is basically my guide into playing Janna at an effective level and being consistent and successful with her and contributing to your team and making sure you can secure the victory. Like I said, Janna is a very squishy champion, so you need to be really careful with your positioning. She's a very position dependent champion. She can't take a lot of damage. Unfortunately, that's probably the downside to her, but the plus side, there's a lot of pluses to Janna. And she's great at peel, she's great at shielding, and she's also got a heal on her as well. Synergised with the rest of the things that are involved in this guide, it provides a really stable champion in order to help snowball the game in your favour. Now I'm going to go over that. I'm going to bring up her skills just now. And Janna's passive is Tailwind. Increases the movement speed of all allied champions moving towards Janna by 8%. Now that isn't a big number and it's not a significant passive, but it is there. It does offer the mobility for your team, and she's a very mobile champion as well, so providing mobility with a passive makes it even better for everyone involved when there's a Janna on the team. Her Q is Howling Gale. By creating a localized change in pressure and temperature, Janna is able to create a small storm that will grow in size with time. She can activate the spell again to release the storm. On release, the storm will fly towards the direction it was cast in, dealing damage and knocking away any enemies in its path. Now that is a big chunk of text there, but basically simplified, it's a little tornado that you charge up and you release it and it knocks them up, and it's great for peel. It's probably the best thing about Janna. In terms of peel, it's really good. It synergizes well with her W, which I'll go over in a second, and the longer you leave it to charge up, the more distance it will cover, the more width it will cover as well, so it's debatable on how you play that, but it's good for catching people out, good for a quick knock up for a Yasuo, to keep people in place to get a big ultimate off, so it's really good in that. I mentioned her W, that is Zephyr. Janna summons an air elemental that passively increases her movement speed and enables her to pass through units. She may also activate this ability to deal damage and slow an enemy's movement speed. The passive is lost while this ability is on cooldown, understandably. Now there's two things to this: you gain a movement speed buff, and you also can walk through minions. You can walk through anything. That's basically it's a really key factor to Janna. So not only do you have the passive for your teammates to get a speed buff, you've also got one yourself, which includes walking through units as well. Also, the slow on this is significantly good. It's really hard to get away from Janna once she's applied that as the fear to you, and you can combine that with your Howling Gale to lock them in place, or you can go for a even cheekier move and you can go for a flash monsoon, but I'll talk about that once I get to her ult. Her E is Eye of the Storm. Janna conjures a defensive gale that shields an ally champion or turret from incoming damage and increases their attack damage. Now it's not only a shield, it gives a little attack damage buff as well to your champion, and you are dealing with an AD champion in the bot lane, so it always makes sense if the support can boost the AD damage coming from that said champion. Eye of the Storm is really good in terms of protecting for trading. Once it has maybe 3 points in it, it's really good for trading. You won't take much damage, and it's good for protecting you for proccing your spell thieves as well in lane, and I'll get to that once I get to the build. And her R, of course, is Monsoon. Janna surrounds herself in a magical storm, throwing enemies back. After the storm has settled, soothing winds heal nearby allies while the ability is active. So there's two things to this: it throws the enemy team comp into smithereens, it blows them all off to the side, and after that it then heals your allies progressively, and it has got a really good heal on it. Combined with the Masteries that I choose and the items that you build, it can determine how powerful this skill can be. So the way that I would upgrade this is start with my E, Eye of the Storm, then I'll go Zephyr for that passive so you can walk through units, get that harass off nice and easy, and then I'll get Howling Gale. And then of course you would upgrade your Monsoon every opportunity that you have, because that is the #1 skill on Janna. So that is our skills, and we'll move straight on to our rune page. Our rune page is very simple. I like to keep it simple. Due to the fact I did say she's really squishy, so bear that in mind. 9 Mark of Armour reds, 9 Seal of Health yellows, 9 Glitz of Magic Resist blues, and 3 quintessences of ability power. Now the quintessences are there strictly so they scale and with her skill, so you can do that little bit more damage, maybe even wave clear a little bit with her Howling Gale, although she's not really known for her damage. That's one thing to note. And when you're building Janna or choosing her, she's completely team orientated. You're better building for your team rather than for yourself. It's a very basic rune page. I mean, you can take this if you want, or you can change it up a bit. If you don't come across an AP support, you could probably put scaling magic resist in there to make you even harder to kill in that late game. However, it's totally up to yourself. So moving on to her Masteries, it's 0, 18 and 12. On Cunning I go Bandit, gain 1 gold for each nearby minion killed by an ally, gain 3 gold when hitting an enemy. Not going to be 10 because you are not melee. Intelligence reduction cap is increased to 45% and you start the game with 5%. Get your skills off more often, very straightforward and understanding. Wind Speaker's Blessing, I will summarise this because the numbers do not mean anything to you, you don't want to worry about that. Heals and shields are 10% stronger, additionally they increase allies' armor and magic resistance. That's all you need to focus on, just that right there. The heals, the shields stronger, armor, magic resist is better as well, so that is a key component to the mastery on Janna. You would always take this, always. There will never be a time where you'd have to take anything else other than that, okay? And then Resolve, Insight, reduces the cooldown of your summoner spells by 15%. If you want to go for those flashy plays with your flash, you can, and this will help by reducing the summoner spell, but you should take this on her anyway because it's great for getting that extra cooldown reduction so that your spells can come back from ganks and stuff like that to keep you safe. So that is the Masteries. These Masteries tie in well with her kit, I feel, and they're really synergized and it's really good. I'd probably stick with this Mastery page every time. So her build, we'll go into her build. Her build is fairly straightforward. Like I said, you want to tie in with all that healing and shielding and stuff like that. You're a team player. I start Frostqueen's Claim, or Spell Thief, and I build into the Frostqueens. 9 times out of 10 you would take this. You can get off your harass, get off that extra income, because then you can either storm yourself and walk up to them and get that harass off without taking significant damage, as long as you don't overstay. If you're against a really engagey bot lane such as a Leona, Nautilus, Blitzcrank, Thresh, people like that, you probably take Ancient Coin because of the passive mana regen. You won't be able to get a lot of harass off, so the money is totally dependent on you actually being risky in lane. And with Janna, you cannot be risky in lane. You have to play safe, you have to play passive, or to your ADC strengths, okay? You can't go and you can't go and try and make plays happen. You need to wait for your team to engage, and then you can focus on peeling for them, kiting back, creating space, positioning for your team to be safe, and applying your skills where they are required. Like I said, Ancient Coin, if you're in a passive lane, Frostqueen's Spell Thieves will be picked up if you're in a lane that you feel as though you can get off a lot of poke. Otherwise it's totally nullified, and you're only really going to get your income from Bandit, and it's not enough for a Janna. You pick up Sightstone. This is standard on every support. You wouldn't go your Sightstone upgrades because the actives on Talisman and Frostqueens is really good for Janna. You've got a disengage and an engage with them. You've got the spooky ghosts, and then you've got the movement speed buff on the Talismans as well as the actives. Boots of Swiftness is really good on every single support at the minute. They're the best boots that you can pick up. Pick this up on Janna, or you can go mobility boots. Either or, it's really good on her. Mejai Soulstealer. Now this is an item that isn't talked about a lot, and you would probably only go this if you're really far ahead in lane. If you're 0 and 4, let's be honest, you aren't going to pick this up, alright? And because the stacks aren't going to matter, you're going to lose the stacks, you're going to die over and over, it's going to be a waste of gold, and you're going to be completely useless. So if you want to pick that up, make sure you're far ahead in lane, make sure that your team is snowballing the game as well. It's an added on bonus item, but I probably wouldn't pick it up if I'm not doing so well. Morrelonomicon, now I talked about how Janna isn't AP orientated, so I wouldn't bother picking this up. In terms of damage, you rely on your team for that. You provide the utility necessary for your team to get that damage off, and then you just you sit back, relax, and spam your shields, spam your Howling Gales, the Fears, whatever you want. Binary Command is a really good item to pick up on Janna. If you want to siege the mid lane or siege your side lane, anything, sieging turrets is perfect because you provide the peel to protect that siege minion, so that is a key factor as well. And this should always be used on siege minions, not melee or casters, okay? You want your siege minions on this. Mikael's Crucible is key for any support, especially to get you out of dodge, to help you get away from CC. If they have a lot of CC on that team, pick this item up. I can't stress that enough. It's a good item, guys. Don't underestimate Mikael's Crucible. It's a fantastic item to have on any utility support. Ardent Censer is a really good item as well. It's not talked about. It's a bit like Mejai Soulstealer. The passes on it are really good. It gives a movement speed passive, and it also gives a buff to your heals and shields as well, so it ties in with your Wind Speaker's Blessing. It makes it even stronger, and this is an item that is reliable in Janna. I would always pick it up, depending on the team comp obviously, but if you feel as though you're safe in the backline with your ADC, pick this item up, guys, because it is fantastic. Zeke's Harbinger, if you want to snowball the game a little bit and you feel as though your ADC can do even more damage, if they want to go ham, then pick this item up. It offers you armor as well, so it's a really key item. Locket of Iron Solari, if you got that AoE bursty champion in terms of AP on the enemy team, you can pick this up, or if they're like not even an AoE, maybe like a Cassidin, pick up an Aegis and don't upgrade it into your Locket until later in the game. If you feel as though you're being focused a lot on team fights and you want to get those flashy monsoons off, pick up Randuins, because you will provide so much sustain for yourself. You can take a hit, you can take a couple of auto attacks, you know, she's really squishy, so this makes a big difference in team fights. Again, Frozen Heart, there's probably better items to choose before it. I don't think I would pick it up on Janna. I'd probably stick with Randuins. You're not really looking to make effects on the enemy team. If anyone's going to pick this up, it'll be your top laner or your jungler. And that is basically the items. These are the items that I picked up. These are the ones that I've experimented with, and they probably provide the best build pool for Janna in terms of getting everything off effectively. So that is a build. And this is my Janna guide, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's encouraged you to play her. She's a fantastic champion, and she's fairly easy to pick up. Once you get a couple of games under your belt, you should be playing Janna pretty consistently, and you will climb with her. That is a fact. So thank you for watching, guys, and I shall see you in the next one.